This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Braucht man nichts alarmieren und so, einfach den Typen liegen lassen. Juckt keine Sau. So. Oh, cool.
Oh Gott.
Zeit hat sich da nicht verändert.
Nee.
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were
Die
turned?
Elektrospitze dann, die
He made a
überall
note to be
rumstehen.
more careful with time from now on.
Okay. Moment mal, waren wir da gerade nicht schon?
Ach was.
Das fällt mir jetzt gerade so auf.
Das ist der Anfang.
Nee, ich meine, das war mal in den Raum.
When Stanley came to a set of two
Okay,
open
was machen wir mal
doors,
die linke?
he entered the door on his left.
Hey, endlich mal, oder?
Müssen wir alle Variationen ausprobieren.
Yet there was not a
Hey,
single
confidence.
person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Get Chris out of the broom closet. God damn it, Chris. Aber er ist doch gar nicht drin.
Oh no,
Mr. Chris?
oh no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
geh mal hoch.
office.
Hören wir mal drauf. Ausnahmsweise. Edel.
Oh, okay.
Seiner krachen lassen.
Alles aus Holz wahrscheinlich auch. Ey, kann man da irgendwas anschalten? Pornos? Nee, Mist. Okay.
Tja.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have
Telefon
known
eingeben.
this.
An der Wand.
Oh,
Alter.
achso.
Und was
Oh,
war's?
ja,
7 auf
7 ist
jeden
schon
Fall.
mal wieder gut. Also, ja, 2.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs, trying to yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing.
Random, ja.
He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Oh, dezent Mini.
Geil.
Okay,
Ein Knopf.
ist doch nix. Nee, okay. Ja, auftun. Ja, wo es da jetzt hingeht. Cool. Wahrscheinlich wieder am Anfang.
Wahrscheinlich, ja. Wäre auf jeden Fall interessant.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Wird garantiert in die Richtung weitergehen.
Fein. Okay. Achso, das blinkt gar nicht.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Okay.
Ach, das
gar
ist,
nichts
das sind doch die
außenrum.
ganzen Fernseher außenrum, weißt du schon.
Echt?
Ja, ich glaube schon. Das ist, glaube ich, der Raum.
Ja, vielleicht
Doch,
sogar.
Ich glaube schon.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Schauen wir mal, was da jetzt so. War das gerade auch schon da? Ne, oder?
War es doch.
Achso, das
sind
war,
drei
nicht,
Inseln normal.
war noch nicht beleuchtet.
Ja.
Now the monitors jumped to life. Their true nature
shit.
revealed.
Jetzt direkt hell.
Each bore the number
Doch,
of an
feiert.
employee in the building.
Ja,
Stanley's
das
co-workers.
vorhin, wo wir
The
oben waren, war
lives
auch
of so many
irgendeiner mit Feier.
individuals reduced to images on a screen. And
Der hat dann
Stanley,
gewechselt, weißt du,
one
jetzt
of
mal,
them,
wenn wir wieder in den Raum
eternally
reinkommen.
monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Gar keine Sau da. Warum leuchten die rot? Typ nach
This
oben.
mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control?
penetrantes Lied.
Never. It was
geil,
unthinkable.
Echt geil.
Wasn't it? Was it even possible?
Schau ins Licht.
Had he truly spent his entire life utterly
so ein Ei,
blind to
das
the
rumwabbelt.
world?
Sich dreht.
But here was the
Mal
proof,
schauen.
the heart of
Geil.
the operation. Controls labeled with emotions,
Farben.
happy
Schreib das mal
or
ein, oder?
sad or content.
Mist.
Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this
Okay.
very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery
home.
would never
Und was
again
auch immer das
exert its terrible power over another human life.
Mist. Okay.
For he
Kannst nicht drücken,
would
oder?
dismantle
Ändert nichts,
the
nee.
controls once and for all.
1 and 2.
Ja, und 2.
Kannst du nicht drücken, oder?
Doch. Aber es passiert halt
Ah ja,
nichts.
okay. Überall Knöpfe.
Wenn ich den Typen jetzt zugehört hätte, dann wüsste ich vielleicht auch, was ich tun soll.
Ja, da musst du aber nicht zuhören. Das ist überflüssig.
Ah ja, da vielleicht mal rein, so. Ah nee.
Ja. Ah, großer
Ja.
roter Button, der ist immer gut.
Und den können ja gar nicht
Na
drücken.
toll.
Dann gehen wir halt wieder raus.
Ja. Ja, da oben wäre auch noch ein Button gewesen. Ach so, ne, okay.
Oh, okay. Idle awaiting input. Geben wir ihn halt mal wegen Input.
Geh mal Import.
System
And when at
Power.
last he found the
F.
source
Was
of
soll
the
ich mal
room's
draufdrücken oder
power,
was?
he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place
Mach auf.
and to
Mach
everything
auf.
it stood for. Oh, Stanley.
Oh,
You
Scheiße.
didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept
Nein.
you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself.
aus.
Is that what you
Oh,
wanted?
Scheiße.
Control?
Ist geil, Alter, in Rot. Alles.
Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to
Okay.
throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better
Und
than
kannst du ihn immer
that.
drücken.
I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just
zurück.
initiated
Geht
the
oft nicht,
network's
oder?
emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode,
Oh, okay.
eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then?
Den Kreis da.
So, hier kommt man da vorhin nicht rein.
2 minutes.
Oh,
Ah,
2
now
Minuten
this is
plus.
making things a little more fun, isn't it,
Okay.
Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your
Oh.
story now. Shape
Oh
it to
nein.
your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the
Zwei.
bomb goes off.
Durch mal
But
zwei.
what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you about
Okay,
me,
cool.
where we're going, what all this means. I barely know
Ich
where
glaube, die
to
muss nicht
start.
drücken, oder? Drücken wir mal
What's
1.
that?
Es passiert gar
Geh mal
nichts.
rum
You'd
zu
like to
der
know
Tür
where
hin.
your co-workers are. A moment of
That's all
solace
button,
before you're
oder?
obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them.
Okay, ist gar kein
I
Thema.
turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story.
muss eine 3 auch
Sometimes when I
irgendwas
tell it,
Ja.
I simply let you sit there in your office forever,
3.
pushing buttons
Vorne, oder?
endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let
Maybe,
the
wenn
office
es
sink into the
7 ist oder so.
ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to
Doch,
a
zweimal
crisp.
musst du ihn drücken, oder?
I have to say this,
Wenn ich,
though,
was
this
würde jetzt
version
passieren, wenn ich jetzt
has
2
been
drücke?
rather
Was würde dann
amusing.
auf dem Bildschirm
Watching you
erscheinen?
try to
Weil,
make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you,
Okay, jetzt
it's
hast du
quite
gedrückt.
rich. I almost
Nee, da
hate
steht
to
bloß
see
da,
it
du musst da einen
go.
grünen Button drücken.
But
zum
I'm sure
Beispiel.
whatever I come up with on the next
Correct.
go around
Jetzt machen wir
will be
1.
even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds
Also nicht,
left.
das hat,
But
glaube
I'm
ich, was
enjoying
mit
this so
der Anzahl,
much.
wie oft du den
You know
Knopf
what?
drücken
To hell
musst.
with it.
Dann den
I'm going to
blauen.
put some extra time on the clock. Why not?
ja, ist eigentlich schon mal
These
blau.
are
oder?
precious additional
Blaue dreimal.
seconds, Stanley. Time
Drück
doesn't
halt
grow
mal.
on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley?
Oh.
Is it that you have no idea where you're
Gelb.
going or what you're
Oh, ja.
supposed to be doing right
Wie
now?
oft?
Or did you
Wieder
just
so.
assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off?
Was?
I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen,
lange haben wir überhaupt
clicking
noch?
on every little thing in this room. These number
Nee,
buttons.
was?
No, these
Okay.
colored ones.
Die
Or
Zeit
maybe
ist
this
aber
big red
langsam
button.
vergangen jetzt.
Or this door.
Slow motion.
Everything,
Vielleicht die überhaupt, wenn
anything,
man
something
den Job-
here will
ja.
save me. Why would
Save
you think
it.
that, Stanley?
Also 1,
This video game can
2,
be beaten. One
3.
solved. Do you have
Passiert
any
gar
idea
nichts.
what
Na
your
toll.
purpose in this
Cool.
place
Was,
is?
wenn ich jetzt den drücke?
Stanley, you're in for quite a
Wenn ich jetzt 4-mal
disappointment.
drücke, dann ist wieder
But here's a
incorrect.
spoiler for you. That timer
1.
isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving
Achso, jetzt kann ich gar nicht mehr drücken.
It's just seconds ticking away to your death.
Ja, ist
You're
so.
only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to
48,
watch you
okay.
for every
Renn mal in den
moment
Kreis
that you're
runter.
powerless. To see you
Cries
made
of power.
humble.
Rise of Power.
This is not a
Crisis.
challenge. It's a tragedy.
digitier's
You wanted
gleich.
to control this world,
Nee.
that's fine.
Na toll.
But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't.
Oh,
Take a
Ah,
look
wir
at
warten
the
jetzt
clock,
mal, oder?
Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30
Goodbye,
seconds
Employee
until a big
40
boom and
sein.
nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to
geil.
pieces. Will you cling desperately
Aber man
to
sieht
your
ja jetzt die
frail
Dinge
life,
nicht mehr, oder? Die
or will you
Bildschirme.
let it go peacefully? Another choice.
Ja, das ist halt viel cooler, die Anzeige.
Das ist wesentlich geiler.
It's all the same to me. All a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever up.
Richtig exploded. Controller
Wahrscheinlich
schickt immer noch
Das ist
leicht.
wahrscheinlich genau das, was wir machen sollten.
Controller schickt immer noch.
Mhm. Ich glaube, deine Hände zittern.
Jetzt
All
nicht
of
mehr,
his
ja.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Okay.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ja, was wo ganz anders jetzt. Deswegen.
Geil. Naja.
When
Okay.
Stanley came to a set of
rechte
two
Tür, oder?
open doors, he
Ja,
entered
wieder
the
durch die
door on his...
rechte.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly
Durch die
well.
linke sind wir letztens
Perhaps he wanted to
explodiert,
stop by
deswegen.
the
Ja,
employee
genau.
lounge
Das
first,
sagt uns,
just to
dass der
admire
das
it.
voll reinlegen will. Das ist immer das
Standing
Gegenteil.
now in this incredible room, Stanley for the
Ja,
first,
ja.
but eager to get back to business,
Zum ersten Mal in
Stanley
seinem
took
Leben.
the first open door on his left.
Nö.
Das bringt uns bloß um.
Stanley was so bad at
Ja,
following
voll.
directions,
Ja,
it's
da können wir
incredible
mal
he
rauffahren,
wasn't
genau.
5 years ago.
Gehen wir mal da rein, oder? Oder lassen wir ganz
Lass
rauffahren?
mal ganz rauffahren.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been
this time.
neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me,
Okay.
I'm asking for her. This is
Hold
it,
on.
Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Ah,
That's her,
Telefon.
You
Telefon.
need to be the one.
Hello, this is Dog. Okay.
Geil, oder?
Hallo. Ah ja.
Oh,
Das ist
Stanley,
der
is
von
that
Madame.
you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right.
Wer ist denn dies?
Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Achso, ich kann wieder rein. Okay, cool.
Sorry, but you're in my
Oh.
story now.
Mann. Und jetzt? Ah ja, ich darf wieder in meinen Raum reingehen. Hallo?
This is a
Fenster?
very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Moment, war der Stuhl gerade eben schon da? RT. Hier.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Okay. Ah, leck mich. Drück X. Haha. Achso, bringt gar
Look at
nichts.
him there,
Mist.
pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button.
Warte mal, war die gerade auch schon
Now
da?
he's eating lunch. Now
Hey,
he's
servus.
going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his
Chosen
mind,
the fuck life.
in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic
Irritiert mich irgendwie.
discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
LB. Hier?
And so he began to fantasize
Moment
about his
mal.
own job. First, he imagined
So,
that
jetzt baut
one
sich das
day
wieder
while at
langsam
work,
um.
he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought
Okay.
excited him terribly.
So,
So he went further.
Moment
He
mal.
imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
LT?
As he
Alt.
wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was
she
such
told
a
him Kiddies eine
wonderful
Geschichte.
fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Könnte ich tun. Ich lieb's aber nicht.
But there is no answer. How
Wait,
could
no.
there possibly be?
Ah ja, cool.
In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends
Wie
here,
anschalten?
the more invested he gets. The more he forgets which life is the real one.
Ja, dann leg ich
And
mich halt
I'm trying to
schlafen.
tell him this. That in this world he can never be anything but an observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Okay. Obwohl, ich will ihn
You
nicht
see?
bewachen.
Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Bäh.
Ja, was würde jetzt passieren, wenn ich ihn jetzt... Ja, okay,
Suppose
passiert
I
wahrscheinlich gar
can't.
nichts.
Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley
Oh.
pushed a button. And I tried
Moment mal.
again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I
Ach so, hört einfach auf, okay, alles klar.
Push the button.
Ich bin gestorben. Bitte. Sehr nett. Sehr, sehr nett sogar. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ist alles neu für mich hier.
Okay. Mal sehen.
Aha.
Ah ja, das ist tatsächlich
Auch
neu.
neu, gell?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Soll ich jetzt mal die linke nehmen?
Ja, nimm mal die linke. Ich glaube, da gab es auch mehrere Möglichkeiten noch, was wir machen können.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave
Tom
of
gets fired.
disbelief,
Ist ein guter
Stanley
Tipp.
decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Ah ja, diesmal ist es zugenagelt. Broom Closet.
Coming
Hoch
to a
oder runter?
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs
runter.
to his boss's office.
Der ist natürlich im Keller, oder? Nein, Alter, da habe ich jetzt keinen Bock drauf.
Ja, schauen wir mal.
Du darfst wieder stundenlang rumrennen.
Ist da ein Knopf unter da?
Nee, das ist glaube ich bloß eine Lampe.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work
Oh, wenn wir
hours.
da jetzt wieder
He
die
might
ganze
be
Zeit-
fired for that.
Ja.
And
Ah,
in such a
toll.
competitive economy, why had he taken
Ja,
that
okay, da habe ich
risk?
jetzt ehrlich gesagt keinen
All
Bock mehr
because
drauf,
he
deswegen würde ich jetzt auch sagen,
believed everyone had vanished.
verabschieden
His
wir uns
boss
hier
would
mal.
think he was crazy.
Das ist
And
immer
then
das
something
Gelaber.
occurred
Alter.
to
Das ist auf jeden Fall ein
Maybe.
ziemlich
He thought
krankes
to
Spiel
himself,
irgendwie,
maybe.
keine Ahnung. Und jedes Mal, wenn man irgendwas tut, dann passiert irgendwas anderes. Also ich glaube, wir hätten jetzt noch eine Stunde spielen können, es wäre irgendwas anderes passiert.
100 Jahre kannst du spielen.
Und ja, auf jeden Fall ist auf jeden Fall ein geiles Spiel. Ich hoffe, es hat euch gefallen, die Session. Wenn euch das gefallen hat, dann liken, teilen, abonnieren, alles halt. Das ganze Standardzeug. Wenn nicht, also wenn ihr irgendwie Anregungen habt oder Kritik oder so, dann sind die Kommentare euer Freund. Ja, ansonsten hast du noch irgendwas zu sagen?
Nee, ich hab nichts zu sagen.
Tech-Support? Auch nicht, okay, cool.
Der ist eh stumm heute.
Der ist stumm, ja. Alles klar, dann würde ich mich
Haut's
jetzt auch
rein,
verabschieden
genau.
und tschüss!